Hi guys, what is up, what is good, what is Gucci? It is your girl Paige Christie here, bringing you yet another video, and today we're going to be talking about a program called Supersize VS Superskinny. Now I know what you're thinking.
Paige, what the hell is Supersize versus Superskinny?
Oh well, my friend, let me tell you.
Ass fat, bag, yeah, I'ma grab that. Pass that, need more of that gas.
Back in the early 2000s, some amazing TV executive thought to themselves,
I know, why don't we take a lot of complex issues like weight and stigmatized illness and drastic cosmetics procedures and turn them all into shows?
and just like that, a new genre of reality TV emerged. We had The Biggest Loser, Extreme Makeover, Botched, and let's not forget the cultural stain that was embarrassing bodies. But in the UK, we had a little concoction of our own. Yes, a little contribution into the zeitgeist that will live on forever. Now, the show is hosted by a Dr. Richardson, who I can only assume is some kind of mad scientist. The concept was simple. Take somebody who is supersized and pair them with somebody who is super skinny and then let them switch diets. What could go wrong? And of course, there's no nuance or no ongoing support for anybody involved. But who needs that when you got good old-fashioned TV drama? And I mean, let's be real, who doesn't want to sit down and watch somebody get yelled at for not losing enough weight in a week? So yes, the 2000s was all about taking extremely complex issues and exploiting the absolute living out of them for our enjoyment. So here's how it works. Two people are brought into a feeding clinic and made to swap diets. So you've got one overweight person who's used to eating whatever they want, and you have an underweight person who's used to barely eating anything. Hilarity ensues. Neither of them knows anything about the other's food issues, so they just candidly and emotionally, sometimes viciously, criticize each other for their terrible, destructive food choices. And of course, the show makes sure to capture every moment just for our entertainment.
You don't live off what I've been given so far and got yourself, 24 stone in weight from this sort of thing.
That's right, that's what I would have for my lunch.
You'd have 2 cheese and onion rolls?
Yes, I'm not lying, I'm not.
Is it true though?
Yes.
It doesn't look like it.
Or maybe it doesn't.
It doesn't. Have you lied?
No.
Have you cut your food diary down?
I'm sorry, I can't sit here and be told I'm wrong anymore. I'm fed up being told I'm fake and I'm lying and I'm wrong, and don't bother me with the camera.
But don't worry, they bring in Dr. Richardson, who will sit down and lecture them about the short-term and long-term damage that their diets will do to their bodies. I mean, who needs therapy when you've got a TV doctor to tell you what to do? After several days of being tortured in the clinic, the participants are given personalized eating plans to follow for the next 3 months. But get this, nobody knows what's inside the eating plan. It's a secret. So apparently, we're only shown the wrong way to eat, but the right way to eat, the doctor-endorsed right way to eat, is kept private. Supersize versus Superskinny, where we exploit people's food habits and choices for other people's entertainment, but keep the solutions a secret.
I'm just going to move on to the curry.
Go for it.
I've got a lot to get through, so
Yeah,
won't
okay.
fill myself up too much.
Whilst Georgetta has another 4 courses to tackle, Amir has polished off his meal.
Classic TV.
Ass fat, bag, yeah, I'ma grab that. Pass that, need more of that gas.
On an episode entitled The 80 Stone Coffin, Dr. Christian travels to Evansville, Indiana, which is allegedly America's fattest city. We're led to believe that Dr. Christian is going to speak to somebody who is extremely important about the crisis going on in their town, as over 30% of the people of Evansville are obese. And the initial concern was that Britain was going to follow in the footsteps of America. They were led to believe that by 2020, over 30% of British people would be obese.
By 2020, a third of us will be obese. However, in the US, they're already there.
So to find out how and why things have got so bad, I've come to the epicenter of the crisis, Evansville, Indiana, officially named America's fattest city.
However, the last survey that was taken here in the UK states that only 25.9% of us are actually obese here. And this test was taken during COVID and the pandemic, leading me to believe that there's also a large amount of individuals who would have just put on weight due to low mobility here in the UK, but I digress. But instead of delving into the very real social issues of why a town where 20% of individuals living there are within the poverty line, that it's potentially pretty easy to guess why these individuals would have bad food choices. The availability of nutritious foods to individuals within the poverty line. But oh no, we're taken to a funeral home because they make the biggest caskets in the world. I think it's supposed to scare people into not being overweight.
Golly, it's heavy. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling.
Well, you can actually get 3 people in this casket. This casket will require probably 2 grave plots, maybe 3.
And I would imagine the person that's going into this size is not very old either.
Unfortunately not. The average age for my records is around 45 years old.
Because when fat people die, they die from being fat. Now look at you, you selfish individual. You've decided to die, and now your family are having to fork out money for a fat casket, fatty. You inconsiderate fuck. Not only did you take up space in real life, you're now taking up space in death. Just die in a way that no one can see you, fatty. It's just so clear to me that this show has absolutely no idea how to have the discussion, the root causes of obesity. Because if they did, they wouldn't have started at death.
Ass fat, bag, yeah, I'ma grab that. Pass that, need more of that gas.
In Supersize vs Superskinny, we get to witness the highly insensitive and exploitative practice of lining up people and putting them in nude underwear for something that they call on the show shock therapy. Because, you know, nothing screams entertainment like putting vulnerable individuals with body issues semi-nude on display for the entire world to see. And what gets me about this whole situation, and I'm sorry to laugh, is that it tends to be that the super skinnies within the show are the most, if not extremely, fatphobic. I know, right? Who would have thought that a person dealing with an eating disorder may have fatphobia or be a little bit more judgmental towards overweight bodies? Shocker. Oh, no. Let's not bother addressing the real underlying issues between these extreme weight problems. No. Let's just match them up like some bizarre weight-based dating game. But don't worry, because we have some doctor appearances to tell the participant how their diets are destroying their bodies. And by diets, we mean the unhealthy, unsustainable, and borderline dangerous habits that you have developed. So let's all just sit back, relax, and enjoy as we watch the exploitation of real people's bodies for the sake of ratings. Because in a world of Supersize versus Superskinny, sensitivity is just boring.
Rob, come forward. And I want to match you up with Hayley.
Oh yeah, all right.
Meet you. I'm sorry, but I've never met anyone as big as yourself. You've got bigger boobs than I am.
So after trying to cure all of the world's weight-related issues by putting people on display and shaming them into changing their bodies, they do exactly that, because this show has the most beautiful shaming technique. Yes, it's the feeding tube. You know, that tube where they fill it up with all of the food that person had ate for a week and forced them to look at it? Yeah, that tube. The whole point of the tube was to make people feel ashamed of their eating habits. But honestly, who eats through a tube? Even the most healthiest diet in the world would look unappetizing if it was all crammed together through a tube. But apparently show producers thought that it might be hilarious to watch somebody humiliated in this way.
What on earth is that?
Oh, that's battered sausage with chips and curry sauce.
That's just
goes straight into your arteries. That is saturated fat.
Like, come on guys, we know what food looks like. We don't need to see it in a tube to see how much we are consuming. And to be perfectly honest, like, if you have a person who has a restrictive eating disorder, displaying all of their week's worth of food in that way could potentially be triggering, but also help aid in their fat phobia.
This is a drastic undereat of 4 days worth of food a week. And by running for 2 hours a day, Kim is actually burning off over 1,000 calories, so her body is existing on a calorie deficit.
Like, I love me some food, but even I'm looking at this like, ew.
Ass fat, bag, yeah, I'ma grab that. Pass that, need more of that gas.
So in these shows, they'd have these random ass segments. And one of these segments was hosted by presenter Anna Richardson. And it would bring her in to try every diet and weight related procedure. Now, first off, let's just talk about Anna herself. She is a averagely sized woman who just can't seem to get enough of complaining about her so-called excessive weight. But hey, who are we to judge, right? So each week, Anna would try out some diet or exercise regime or a celebrity endorsed tip to obtain the perfect body. One week, Anna was all about stretch marks. You know those pesky little lines that show up on your body that pretty much almost virtually everybody has? Instead of embracing them as a normal and natural part of life, Anna decided to get a consultation for a non-permanent treatment to get rid of them. Temporarily. Yes, that's right. Instead of just enjoying their body and accepting its imperfections, Anna suggested that we try to erase any history that we have lived a single ounce of life and get rid of them semi-permanently.
My boobs, all down my hips, on the inside of my thighs, and those are really unattractive.
However, there's a new kid on the block that claims top-notch results, Carboxy. Apparently, it's not permanent, but it does claim to seriously reduce those unsightly stretch marks. These treatments cost about £100 per session, and as they're not permanent, ongoing top-ups could prove rather expensive.
No. They can't see that we are anything less than perfect. And the worst part is, this was just some of many crazy experiments that Anna tried in the name of weight loss. It's almost like she was willing to do anything to fit into society's narrow definition of what it means to be beautiful. So if you're ever feeling down and out about your body, just remember, you could be Anna Richardson, scouting the internet for the latest diets and semi-permanent tips to fix your flaws. Listen, just embrace the stretch marks and your curves and your growing body or your losing weight body. Who cares? Just enjoy the skin that you're in, because all of this, honestly, just is making my brain scream. Now, this show was not complete without giving a platform for one of the most infamous British nutritionalists who often faints on live television.
Bob. Okay, bring the oxygen in, please.
Gillian McKeith and her mission to ban big bums. Now, we must ask ourselves, was Gillian McKeith only concerned with women's bums? Yes, she was. Only women's. We are the problem. And did she possibly, I don't know, take it upon herself to go through the streets of England and accost random people on the street to police the size of their bums? Yes, yes, she did. Picture this, Gillian McKeith, the self-proclaimed nutritionalist, roaming the streets with a megaphone and shouting at unsuspecting individuals on the street about the size of their bums.
Have you got a toned bottom or not? I can help you get a toned bottom. Stop right there, madam. Can I have a feel of your bottom? Now, you need toning in that bum. What about your bottom? Is it a nice bottom?
Huge, huge.
Does he have a soggy ass?
No, he's got a good ass, man, but I'm not gay.
But wait, it gets better. Gillian also had a habit of examining people's poop to determine their health status.
It smelled like there was no tomorrow.
Oh,
It was really bad. It really was the most smelly of the four.
Fuck off, Gillian McKeith!
Yes, you heard that right. Poop. She would take a long look at their poo and make all sorts of conclusions about their diet and overall health. Because who needs medical degrees and proper scientific research when you've got poop? Honestly, guys, if you want an entirely separate video about the absolute lunacy that is Gillian McKeith, let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, give this video a like, subscribe with notifications on. I just can't help but wonder whether Gillian McKeith has ever considered that the human body can come in all different shapes and sizes. And then there's nothing wrong with having a big bum or stretch marks. But hey, what do we know? We're just regular people who don't go onto the street and yell at strangers about their body parts or have a look at their poop.
Ass fat, bag, yeah, I'ma grab that. Pass that, need more of that gas.
Now, if you thought that this show could not get any worse, then we have Supersize vs Superskinny Kids. Yes, that's right. They actually made a version of the show for children. Now, the concept of the show is the same as the adult version, but instead of adults, we get to watch children being weighed and measured against each other. Because what could possibly go wrong with putting kids against each other based on their weight and size, right? But it's not just the kids who are being compared. The parents are there too, and we get to watch their reaction as they find out that their child is on the supersized side.
Wow, okay. God, this all looks yucky, doesn't it? Where's the fruit and veg, Mum, in dinner?
In the cupboards because you won't eat it.
All right, let's have a look at your snacks.
But don't worry, they do offer some extremely helpful advice to the children, like eat more fruit and vegetables. Because clearly that's all that it takes to fix an entire lifetime of unhealthy eating habits. It's not like there's any economic or nutritional education that needs to be developed, no. Just fruit and veg. But if that is not enough to get you to grab your belly and shake it like a bowl full of jelly, you have a segment where the show try and get the children to eat healthy food like kale and quinoa. Because if there is one thing that I know as a parent when it comes to vegetables, kids love the taste of vegetables that taste like absolute shit.
Do you like it?
Yeah. And olives.
They don't attempt to make the vegetables seem exciting or get the kids to help prep the vegetables and make it cute. Maybe they can attempt to plant the food and grow variations. Or just simply compile a list of all of the good vegetables and fruit they enjoy. No, fatty, you just sit down and eat the fucking kale and quinoa that is in front of you. And of course, there is obviously the obligatory before and after of the children, where we get to see the children's weight loss and weight gain achievements. Because we are, of course, watching a child's weight loss journey for our entertainment. Yeah, definitely not going to cause them a complex. So there you have it. Supersize versus Superskinny Kids. Just when you thought that the original show couldn't get any worse, they decided to do a version with children.
Ass fat, bag, yeah, I'ma grab that. Pass that, need more of that gas.
The show Supersize vs Superskinny has so many contradictory messages about health and weight. One minute they're running down the streets telling us that all big bums should be banned, and then the next they're scolding somebody with an eating disorder because they want to get smaller. I mean, talk about mixed messages. For 7 seasons, the show failed to teach its audience healthy behaviors and simply demonstrated that eating too much or eating too little is a problem. Which it is, yes, Jesus Christ, but that's a given. But let's be honest here, this show was a product of its time. Back then, acknowledging that not eating enough could have a negative effect on your physical body was radical. And the show opened doors to conversation about restrictive disorders. But I can't help but feel that this conversation, whilst needed, may have been counterproductive. At best, Supersize vs Superskinny was confusing. At worst, it puts its audience at risk of developing disordered eating patterns. Because to be clear, There's no one-size-fits-all approach to your health and your weight. It's all about balance and finding what's right for you. Supersize vs. Superskinny was a show that was both hilarious and horrifying at the same time. Sure, it had its moments of entertainment, but ultimately it was a hot mess of confusing messages about health and weight that left its audience scratching their heads. Watching this show back now makes me feel like I'm on some kind of roller coaster. One moment I'm laughing at the ridiculousness of it all, and the next minute I am horrified at the dangerous message that it's sending. So if you're looking for a show that will leave you feeling amused as well as equal parts annoyed, then by all means give Supersized vs. Superskinny UK a try. However, if you are looking for actual guidance on how to lead a more healthier life, then this is not the show to watch. Because Supersized vs. Superskinny was just one big mess of a show that tried to tackle the most complex of issues in the most simplistic and harmful way possible. Anyway, that is it from me. Thank you so much. Hopefully you enjoyed this retrospective video on Supersize vs. Superskinny. Tell me what it is that your opinions are of this show. Have you ever seen it before? If you're American, is this something that's news to you? If you guys are interested in me taking a retrospective look at all of these shows from the yesteryears, I'm more than happy to do it. We've got Fat Families, there was Flab Fighters, Gillian McKeith had a whole show to herself. So if you want me to take a look at all of these retrospective reality shows, tell me what it is that you want me to check out, and maybe I'll do it for another random video. And with that being said, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to my members, my patrons, as well as my Twitch fam. And until next time, you beautiful, amazing, badass bitches. It's been Paige. Bye.